Hi, welcome to Julie's Rich Life Special. Welcome. If you're here for the first time, I'm Julie, a toddler daycare owner, married to a middle school teacher who is trying to retire early, a few years ahead of my husband, probably. And I've been trying to just we've been trying to live just off his paycheck and just get ourselves in a really good financial situation so I can retire from this particular career. And then who knows? I mean, I'll certainly be busy in the world after I retire. Maybe that'll have some kind of work component to it. I don't know. But to enable me to retire my childcare toddler community business. And this is a budget that I'm considering like a mini retirement budget because in July, my child care is closed, and so there's no tuition coming in. And usually what I do is I save every month an amount that'll replace the income during the summer that I'm not taking in through tuition, kind of like public school teachers don't get their salary in a 10-month period. The district, forces them to receive that over 12 months, which has its pros and cons, but I try to emulate that usually. And I did this year too. But my goal is to not draw on any of that savings and just let that sit there and accumulate and just live off my husband's salary. Now, this is my July budget, as you can see, and I don't share the income ever because it's not my husband's YouTube channel, right? And I'm not sharing his income, and mainly that's what it is for July, especially this year. I also don't share the specifics of my giving. I will tell you the categories. So this month I have the amount we give for our church tithe. I have an amount that's just our be generous amount. So that might look like a fundraiser, or it might look like, helping somebody out by buying them some gift cards, or could be a community need, could be anything, but it's just additional money besides what we give to our church. And then I have an amount that I fund to, maybe help my adult children. It's a small amount to maybe buy something for my adult children. And some of that is for my granddaughter. One of our gifts was to pay for her diaper cleaning for a whole year. She's 9 months old, so we'll be continuing to do that for the next 3 months for giving. And then no July birthdays, or is that correct? Yeah, no July birthdays that we have gifts for. I do have a nephew who I got his announcement a little later, so he wasn't budgeted into June, even though that's when he graduated. And so he'll get his gift in July, and I don't think he'll mind that late surprise gift maybe at this point. But anyway, that's the giving categories without the giving amounts. Now, savings and investing. I'm going to make a video with my updated emergency fund. This emergency fund line here is income replacement. So if one of us, suddenly lost their job, then we would have that money for income replacement. But then I have other emergency funds as well. No income this month, so I'm not putting anything into my simple IRA. Education fund is a Caldwell account for my granddaughter, and so she always gets 166. That brings to the maximum you can. This isn't an advice, but if I remember correctly, how I came up with this account was, if I do that every month, that will be the maximum that I can put into a Caldwell account for her, and that could be used K through 12 education as well as college. And then once we have some other goals met for ourselves and make sure our retirement is taken care of and my disabled son's future is well provided for, because that's not sure what assistance you'll be able to get in the future. We want to try to provide ourselves for him as much as we can. But anyway, once those goals are kind of met, then we will, probably put money into other accounts for her college. And then medical savings, I'm not putting anything into that. So that's one of the emergency funds I have. I also have a house maintenance emergency fund, and we're actually going to be spending that down a little bit this summer. And we have two. Our house is small, so both our bathrooms are small, but one really needs new vinyl, like there's actually tears in it, and then we're just going to do the other ones just, about 17 years old. We figure we might as well do them both at once, and shouldn't be too expensive because they're small, but we'll draw on that house maintenance for that, but not adding to it, not adding to car emergency fund or get busy living, get busy dying fund, or our boat Asia fund this month, because this is how it would be in retirement, right? We'd hopefully, have those funds at a certain level, and then wouldn't be adding actively to them, for my income anyway, once we retire. And then I still am adding, so this is automatically comes out every month, and I could do it with the budget, is $100 into our public account, which we have, we're buying stocks. So this is our taxable brokerage account. And let's see if I can remember off the top of the head. It's divided into $25 each every month. I think it's IBM, Iron Mountain, Costco. I'll look it up. Oh, okay. And just looking at the app there, and NVIDIA. And so that's not advice. That's just what we're doing at this point. And just, a little every month. So this public account could be used, maybe in retirement, maybe for, it's just giving us a place to put money that we won't be like forced to take out at a certain age minimum distributions. Again, not financial advice, but that's what we're doing there. And then, no income for me, so not giving to my. Also, we have our son's ABLE account, and that's just in my state, the account where we can put money aside for him as now a disabled adult, and then that money can only be used for basic life expenses, and that fund will be there for him after we die, when we die. Okay, so that's it for savings and investing. Then we have bills and being an adult. So this category is just a category I can look at quickly and say, okay, that's really currently what we have to spend every month. And of course, there are areas we could reduce that, especially in retirement. If one of our possible scenarios would be to rent out the house while we slow travel around, and so then we wouldn't have, we would have house expenses, but they'd be offset by rental income and maybe even a little bit of a profit there because we've owned the house for so long. So we can rent it out for quite a bit compared to what we owe on our HELOC. But anyway, here are the bills. And so I've got property taxes, no water bill this month. That's paid every other month. Got electricity and mobile phone. And that's for a total of 6 lines. We're on a shared family plan, and one of those people is paying off a phone. So we do get some money from them for that. And then our garbage is just our regular city garbage. And then also I pay for the company Ridwell, which enables me to recycle almost anything, whereas our city recycling is kind of basic. And then landline I wouldn't need in retirement, because once I close the school, we can just have cell phones, but I need a landline for licensing for the childcare. And then internet expense, our basic home equity, that's rounded bit. And then auto and gas, we probably will use all that this month because, well, we have an electric car and that we will just both be using all summer around town and such. We will be driving our larger vehicle when we go camping and travel out of town. So we'll need some gas for that vehicle then. Medical expenses, I don't anticipate actually having to draw on that at all this month. Groceries, toilet needs, and cleaning supplies, we should be able to do quite a bit less. So this is, again, like a practice mini retirement. Part of that is that the school's closed this month, and I'm not feeding all those children and my employees. So this is basically feeding 3 people, 3 adults, and then my son and daughter and son-in-law do eat with us on occasion or come by and have snacks. But I'm hoping, stay tuned at the end of the month, but I'm hoping really not to spend that much this month since the school's closed. And then auto and home insurance, life insurance now. That is term life insurance. I have a very large policy on myself. I'm cheaper to insure. Actually, when we got the policies, we couldn't even insure my husband because he's a cancer survivor, although he might be far enough out that we could. Still, it would cost more to get a larger policy for him. And really, we just need these policies for when we both die so that we have that extra funds for my disabled son so we can provide for him. And then car loan is paid off. Yay. I just like to keep that there because it just makes me feel good to see that I have no car loan payment. And then dental expenses, I don't expect any, or eye doctor. I am putting $150 extra on our HELOC, which is what we used, the funds we used to build the school. So it's kind of sort of a business expense. But I count it here as well. It's not spring break, so no spring break money. All right, and so that's it. And again, if we were really retired, a lot of that could be reduced or eliminated. All right, and to live a content life, guilt-free spending. I reduced a little this month because we're trying to live off just my husband's income this month. And kept my husband's the same at $400. Usually I spend almost all of mine, and he varies a lot. He spends his full amount usually just during the summer and early fall when he's fishing a lot, and then needs gas for the boat and tackle and fishing pole breaks, and anyway. And then flexible spending, so that's anything that's not in another category, comes from that. My mom and dad, my dad did pass away, but this category is for anything that I buy now for my mom that she would pay me back for, and I keep track of it that way. Other subscriptions are subscriptions that benefit both my husband and I. Otherwise, they go from our guilt-free spending. And then pet care, I think we're good for dog food for the rest of the month. So that's his going to doggy day camp once a week. He's an Australian Shepherd, a lot of energy, and that just helps keep him socialized outside of the house a bit. And, when we're retired, maybe we would reduce or eliminate that because we'd have more time to spend with our dog. YouTube TV, mostly that's for sports. Lots of sports watching going on in my house, all the sports almost. Eating out, I bumped up for summer a little bit, so probably eat out a little bit more. And then this is a line I have just to keep track of any business expenses. If I go buy something and there's personal items and business expenses, we keep track of it there. So I make sure the business pays our family back. And then my rich life. So this is something I think of like as a splurge that I may or may not continue in retirement. But right now we just have a thorough cleaning of the house once a month. I spend a lot of time cleaning the classroom, and so it's just nice to have a deeper clean of my house once a month, and then we keep it up in between. Okay. All right, so that is my July, my mini retirement budget. Subscribe if you want to see how I did. This is part of my journey to try to retire early, a few years ahead of my husband, and close my little toddler childcare. and just to practice for doing. And then the rest of the year, I just try to like save all of my salary, and you can watch some videos. I have videos on how well I did not spending my salary other months, and those are, I'll do a catch-up video because I've been gone from YouTube for a couple months while life got lifey, but you can watch my other videos about that. I'll link a playlist with those here, and then I'll also have a video here that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy, so let me know if they're right in the topic they chose for you. All right, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.